Hi, eighth graders. This video is for people who are turning their argumentative research papers into their speech. It's not just a matter of reading from your speech or reading from your paper and turning it into a speech that way. You really have to shorten, change, revise your original paper and get it to fit the format of a speech. You are not going to read because that is going to make you look down at your speech the entire time. This was meant to be read. The speech was meant to be spoken. That doesn't mean, however, that there aren't certain things that you can take right out of your research paper and put into the speech outline. Okay, so I have Natalie's speech or research paper. She is not doing this one, but she has such a well-written research paper that if she wanted to, she could easily do that. So if we were going to take, Natalie was going to take her research paper, which is right here, and move it into her speech outline. What could she do? Well, the first thing she wants to do is give it a hook. And she did have a really good hook in her own research paper where she talks about a kid who was in the hospital receiving treatment for epilepsy. And the school district actually came in and said, hey, you guys have to take this little kid here. He has to take this test. So this right here, it's not a super long story. It's a quick story. So this would be a good one. She could just move this story right over into her speech because it's not that long. So that one, I would just do Command C and I would move that little story. If it was much longer, I wouldn't. I would summarize it even more. But because it's pretty short, then you can. So I would just do Command C and then I would do Command V, or I guess it's Control on your Chromebooks. But now she has her little story there from her paper and she has it in here. Now she will not want to read this just like this, but she can certainly, it's not that long, she can look up from it. Okay, so now her topic is standardized testing. Okay, so she's not just going to say standardized testing. She might want to say there has been an increase in standardized testing. We are seeing a lot of anxiety from kids who are having standardized testing. And so she does mention that in here. Okay, she talks about not educating students. Their kids are getting sick. All the problems with standardized testing. This cannot all go into this beginning. It's way too long and she can't read all this. So she might want to just take the big ideas out of here, which just might be that standardized testing is draining the fun out of classrooms. And putting a lot of stress on teachers and students, right? And it is not even clear that the tests are measuring what we think they are measuring. Now, this will be very easy for her to connect that topic to the audience because you have all just taken 3 rounds of the MCA. So if she was going to connect that topic to the audience, she could connect it right to you. The 8th graders in Minnesota schools have 3 standardized tests in a row in the spring, and consider how much class time was spent taking those 3 tests. And then she could say, and what did you learn about yourself as a learner? What did your teacher learn about you? And then how is it going to help you? Because you're leaving next year. How's it going to help you? The 8th grade teachers won't see you next year, and the 9th grade teachers aren't going to be looking at that data. All right, then, be a good way to connect that because you guys have just gone through that. And then the thesis is, what is her opinion on standardized tests? And she is very clear about that. She says this issue has continued on for too long with students and teachers alike suffering, and a decision needs to be decided. Okay, so she can move that over. And then she wants to tell us right here what her main points are going to be. Okay, she's going to tell us that there are different ways to evaluate students. Or to allow students to decide when to take tests. Okay. So now she has changed up her paper a little bit, but she really is still keeping true to what she had in her paper. Okay, so now her main point 1. Her first point is that she's acknowledging that tests, different solutions have been proposed, is to give students the tests who are prepared for it. So her first point is give students the tests when they are prepared for it. Okay. Notice I'm leaving out a lot of different things in here because she can explain that when she's speaking, but you don't want to put a whole bunch of stuff in your outline because you want to be free to look up and talk to your audience. Okay. This would mean giving students tests every few months instead of all at once. Okay. All right. And that was her idea here. Now her next main point, she can skip down that. Her next main point was to provide a different kind of system, a portfolio-based assessment. Okay, that's a different way to assess. The portfolio-based assessment allows the students' grades and records are collections of work that show achievement throughout the year. Okay. Second point on that is that this would be cumulative and be evaluated at the end of the trimester. Rather than just one time on one day. So that's her second idea for a solution.